So one of the things I talk about a lot, and I've made Instagram and TikTok posts about this as well, is that getting a PhD, especially if you are not in the education field, does not teach you how to teach. It does not teach you how to be a good educator. It basically teaches you how to do focused research in some area, some technical area, which you're getting your PhD in. So because I knew I wanted to be an engineering educator, I started off early trying to also hone those other skill sets that I felt my PhD process was not giving me. So I started attending teaching workshops. Even when I was still in my PhD program. I even taught one summer at a high school. It was an alternative high school. And that let me know pretty quickly that mama needed to get on back up to college because I just couldn't do it. But so yeah, I even got a job offer from a private school to teach math. And at the time I was teaching at Tennessee State, and they asked me, would I be willing to take the job? I was like, well, tell me a little bit about the workload. And they were like, yeah, you teach 5 different classes per day. Okay, I am spoiled because I've been teaching university, so I think I'm going to have to say no. So I will say that a lot of what I have become as an educator is because I went to so many future faculty preparation workshops as a new faculty member, as well as a PhD student. I was a teaching assistant, and I used to cover my advisor's courses when he traveled. And I was not good at first. You know, I talked too fast. I covered too much information. Even as a junior faculty member, I spent way too much time prepping and not enough time just breathing. So a lot of that has now influenced my teaching philosophy. So what I'm about to share, I will say I'm sharing as a full professor who has now been teaching for 20 years. So I would not expect someone who is a junior faculty and is new and just getting on the tenure track process. What I say is most importantly is be authentic to yourself. Once I started doing that, it started to go a lot better. When I was trying to mimic and model what other people did, it did not always work for me. Like, for example, only Black woman professor on my campus. So if I'm going in that room and I'm trying to model my teaching off of my majority white male colleagues, there are some prime opportunities that my students are missing off on. So now when I go in, you know, it's nothing for me to talk about, you know, pop culture, a little bit of my experiences being a social media science communicator, which my students find very funny, along with the fact that I write romance novels. But if I try to hide those parts of me, I have now cheated them out of this experience. So I'm not a robot. So when I go in the room, even though they are not very good at this, it's their generation. Good morning. How are you doing? I do the whole Marsha Fudge on them. I didn't hear nobody say nothing. Good morning. So I have to do things like that. But also, I use active learning, which means I make partial lecture notes and they are fill in the blank, but I also have all the videos on YouTube. So you can go and watch the videos on YouTube as many times as you want. But during my lecture, I face the student. So I either use a dot cam or I use a Surface Pro where I'm writing and I'm looking at them as I'm teaching. So it's more of a conversational approach. I very rarely write on the whiteboard or the chalkboard because I don't want my back to them. Because as I'm looking at them, I'm also gauging their reaction. I'm gauging if they're understanding. So I learn their names within the first week or two. And then I can sometimes look at them and say, Molly, I can tell that you have no idea what I'm saying right now. Ask me something. So sometimes, especially, they won't say anything. My daughter is shy. So I know what it's like to teach students who may be shy or feel embarrassed. So sometimes I will do things like, you know, if you don't understand, just blink fast if you don't want to raise your hand. But give me some sign so I can circle back and I can explain it again. But the other thing is my school being in engineering, it needs to be hands-on and minds-on, especially in electrical engineering, because it is sometimes very difficult to visualize some of those more abstract concepts. So every class in my department has a lab. So the lab is really where the rubber meets the road. Sometimes the theory may not mean very much to you, but when we go in the lab and we get a power supply and we build it and you see how the electricity makes this LED turns on or makes this blink or make a mistake and you see something start smoking, you know, it makes it all a little bit more real to you. So I think that hands-on and minds-on approach is absolutely vital. But I think also having resources available to circle back. I give lots of feedback and I try to give it quickly. So if my students take an exam on Friday, they will probably get it back by Monday or Tuesday. This is something I'm dealing with right now with my high school daughter. Unfortunately, she has a physics teacher who does not return graded work. And I'm trying to work with him to help him to understand. I'm not sure how she's supposed to learn from her mistakes when she can't identify her mistakes. There is a final coming. In my class, the final is cumulative. So absolutely, I return their work so they can learn from their mistakes. And then I do something, a strategy that I learned when I was at Spelman College. When I got my first D on my first calculus exam, my professor wrote notes on it. Come see me today. I do the same thing. I will send you notes. I will send you memos. I will send you emails. And if you don't answer me, I will walk up to you at the end of class. Did you see my email? I need you in my office this afternoon. I think, especially for someone like my daughter, she would need that. You tell her to do that, she's going to do it. But if you expect her at 15 to be self-aware enough to go, I need to go to my teacher's office hours, I'm not getting this, that's not going to happen. So I now find myself teaching the teacher. I don't know how well it's going over, but there's just some things that you have to be able to do. So a lot of the posts I do are, I now am learning that these students are coming out of high school without the necessary study skills to be successful in college, which is why I created the engineering professor advice, because some of the things I'm saying to them, I'm thinking, okay, this has got to be common sense. But I'm now seeing, even after dealing with my daughter's teacher, no wonder they can't do it coming out of high school, because there are teachers out there who are not even modeling some of these behaviors that we are expecting college students to have. So now I call my freshman 13th graders. And that is the year that I'm trying to get you ready for what you have to do in college. And the ones who struggle the most are the ones who were straight A students in high school. They never took books home. They never studied. They just got it, right? And so now you're in high school and you're not just getting it. Now that you're in college, you're not just getting it. And you have no idea what to do next. They don't even know what to say when they come to office hours.